Hey, my name is Belinda Dovston, and it's wonderful that you are here with me for our weekly I Ching forecast. Right, here we are into the new week, and of course, we always look back. We say, what was the I Ching inspiring us with last week? Where did we make some meaningful change, some meaningful growth forward in our lives? We had Hexagram 41, decrease, okay, reducing what is in excess, reducing what is unnecessary, being laser focused, letting go of the lower in favor of the higher, being willing to make a sacrifice of some kind for some future gain. And we had Hexagram 6, conflict, the two bison butting their heads, coming across perhaps an internal conflict or a conflict with others, and finding ways of de-escalating any situation where you come into conflict with someone else is to de-escalate, de-escalate, de-escalate. Plus, where you see that happening between two other people, finding a way of supporting them to de-escalate, to find a common ground, a negotiating area where we all agree, and holding that in mind, holding that principle in focus and moving forward. So what did you decrease in your life this past week? Where did that conflict show itself? And where were you aware of the sacrifice that was necessary, letting go of the lower in favor of the higher? I definitely was aware of decisions in front of me in numerous areas of needing to make an investment or spending some money now, some capital for a future gain. Thinking about what can we do now where the return totally is in the future. And I was aware of how this hexagram came to help me in thinking that through, thinking through de-escalating in this past week. So if anything came up for you this past week that was connected to these hexagrams, it'd be lovely to hear your story. So go along and share that comment. Okay, let's get into what this week is bringing to our awareness, right? What are we tuning into? An aspect of our lives where we are developing, where we're seeing things clearly, we're working on ourselves and working on our teams and our families. And through doing that, right, through that inner work, through that growth, we are helping our communities, we're helping our world, and we're making a meaningful contribution on many different levels. Our first hexagram for this week is hexagram 30, the clinging, also known as radiance or brightness. This is a doubling of fire, fire on top, fire underneath. Flames clinging to wood, clinging to what they burn, right? Clinging to what is essential, burning up brighter and brighter and brighter. This idea of radiance and shining, okay, this opportunity we have this week to understand a couple of different parts of this hexagram and how they apply. One is that in order to deal with difficult times, when we come out of a time of darkness or difficulty or challenge, or we're facing a challenge in our lives, the way that we bring ourselves and our family and our teams and our people, our tribe through that darkness is by shining brightly, right? Radiating. That radiation speaks to principle, our belief systems, our passion, our commitment, our love of the work that's in front of us, the love of the people in our lives, and our ability to shine brightly. We are being called this week to focus on that, to really become aware of where we are having this urge to dim ourselves, right? We want to shine very brightly because this bright radiance, what it does, it casts a light into the dark room, into the challenge, right? And it shows where things are, right? We see clearly and we can then make really good decisions. But we are responsible for taking our light and shining with it, okay? Not hiding with that light. There are other hexagrams where we do that, right? But this week, there's something around us where we are needing to radiate. The people around us, our community, our tribe, is needing us to be this huge spotlight, okay? Boom! All right, whether that is a spotlight at the top of a lighthouse guiding ships safely into the harbor, whether that's motivational, whether that's inspirational, but the energy we're being asked to bring is the radiance, right? Bring it. Shine brightly. Give your light full reign. The other aspect of this hexagram is that fire clings to something. It has fuel, all right? It clings to the wood, right? A good fire and good wood can continue to burn and radiate for the long time, right? If we have the wrong fuel, we have wet wood, we have an insipid flame, we have a difficulty of trying to create this beautiful bonfire effect that we're needing to bring to this week. So I feel what we cling to is another aspect of what this hexagram may bring some learning for us, because one thing is we want to shine brightly and we're putting in the energy, but the fuel we're clinging to, the thing that is nurturing this fire, is just not up to the job. Okay, so we have our awareness open to the different facets that we can learn from on this hexagram. I often talk about this hexagram as being like a campfire. If we are in the dark night, we're out camping, all right? My son's a scout, and I'm thinking of him with his fire and, the campfire songs and how important the campfire is to everyone around this light, how it binds everyone together. And we have a nice big fire. We can see outside the peripheral area of this inner circle. We can see kind of behind us. We've got a view of what might be lurking, good, bad, or otherwise, and we can deal with that. We can see clearly. We have clarity because this light is bright and it's shining outside of the inner circle, and it's also binding everyone together. A light, we're all sitting in a circle, and we've all got the talking stick, and we're taking a turn to tell our tale. And there's this light that binds us together. It's a warming, beautiful energy. It's not a wildfire, it's contained. We have to think about fire in this way of how we focus our fire and we let it shine brightly. Right. So how brightly we're shining, our commitment to helping radiate and shine light around us. Number 2, what we cling to, right? In third place, how this all ties our community, our tribe together. 3 changing lines. I don't know, this seems to be a weird month where every single episode we seem to have at least 2, but usually 3 changing lines. Lots of change going on here. Lots and lots and lots. Okay, so we have them in position 3, 4, and 6. In position 3, right, the fire, or in each of these lines, the radiance or something to do with fire is helping us understand brightness, clarity, radiance, all these things. Here it is sunset, right? And the sunset represents our light coming to an end when we hit our retirement and we hit the late stage of our life, right? You all know someone that in their late stage of life, they just are jubilant and energetic and wondrous with what has happened in their lives, about what every day brings, and are just out there. Literally, the I Ching talks about taking the drums and singing and banging the drums as the sunset comes, right? There's a celebration of what's gone before. There's a celebration of richness of life, the tapestry. And the energy is the celebration of life, right till the final moment when it goes dark. Symbolic of the death process and our last little sprint of something as the sunset's going down, and we celebrate everything that has happened. But most people, I'm sure you've met someone or many someones in this category, as we hit the twilight zone, okay, at the end of our life, there's a deep depression, a sadness, and a wailing of what has been lost, of what hasn't been achieved, of what remains undone, of the trauma that's been carried on through the whole life, okay, and you have this wailing at sunset. Now, this changing line is asking us to focus on being the drum beaters, to celebrating and ululating and enjoying the beautiful life that we've had in this situation, and as the sunset comes, we're joyous. It will punish us for the wailing and the sorrow at sunset. So, of course, we are not all in our twilight years. We have all kinds of different years, and what it talks about is as something comes to an end, right? As the cycle comes to an end, we celebrate what has been done. We don't go into the minus emotion, right? The negative emotion on, oh, and it's over, or it's this, or it's that, or I didn't do this, or I didn't do that. We have to be in a celebration energy. So there's something around this week where part of our energy, part of our focus, we're being asked to celebrate the ending. Okay. I know I've got a big event coming up this week. And of course, you have that kind of like high of the event, and then it's over, then you have the dip, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I want to get out of a drum and bash my way and sing my way through that. But it's that kind of idea when we reach the end of something or we close something off or we reach the sunset of an experience, we have to be in the celebration of it, of everything that has gone before, not in the wailing and the negative sorrow, because that is how we unravel. Okay, so that's an important part of this week. And perhaps you have someone in your life who's in that sorrow moment, either on a closure cycle or literally in a physical twilight zone, okay, the end of time, is helping that person get into celebration. You can't necessarily shift someone who is hell bent on sorrow, but if you can do your best to help them, to set an example, to beat the drum, to sing, to celebrate life, because every day is precious. Every day, every moment we have to be here is another day where the sun comes up and we have another day to tackle our stuff and another day to be with the people we love. Right? Celebration, banging of the drum. In position 4, this changing line has a different energy. And here the symbol of radiance is a meteor streaking across the sky. Okay. Bright. And gone. Okay, so it talks about an intense burst of energy, an intense burst of radiance that quickly peters out. Okay. 2 ways we can work with this, and we have had this line before, I know for a fact. One is our energy, managing our energy, that we don't spark and burn really bright, go really hard, and then lose all our energy. There's something around this where we're being asked to sustain the energy, right? Go the longer term. And the second part of it is watch out for something that comes into your life, right? That's bright, okay, very exciting. Okay, so there's something where in this week, all right, particularly it might be something that's not necessarily in the week, but something that's happening on a bigger process. Watch out for those meteors that seem very bright and very exciting and very promising, but actually don't have the legs, okay? Don't have the ability to continue to radiate energy after this initial burst of light, because they literally are burning because they're re-entering the atmosphere. They're burning up. You are seeing that flame because this thing is self-combusting. And it's just in and then it's gone. So there's something that's almost like fly by night or quick in and out. Like there's something here where the question of sustained burning or sustained radiance is the question we need to be asking. All right. Can this go the long term? And if it's just a fizzle, okay, just enjoy the fireworks display for what it is. But like fireworks, poof, it's gone. And then all the money's blown up. Okay. So we think about this idea of just being mindful of what bursts into your life this week or what has burst into your life at this time. That's a quick, fast flame, okay, and might just fizzle out. And then you're left with a nothing. So there's something around how we manage ourselves and how we're conscious of that flame, all right? What does that represent to us this week? What aspect of our life do we find this meteor going in and gone? And in position 6, okay, top of the line, this shows us that as leaders, right, we have developed the power to see clearly. This hexagram is all about the clarity, the light shining, okay, seeing clearly. And we've developed a massive amount of clarity at a process or at something that's happening for us in a workplace or in our personal lives. We see clearly. We see things like what this is really about, what's really meaningful, who are really valuable as team members or people in our community, who are problems. What is the root cause of the issues we face? What do we really need to sort out in order to create a greater burning and greater radiance? So the week brings us this opportunity to get a perspective, because we've worked at it, we're the king now, we can look at it, we can look at our campaign we've been working towards, and we can see where the real issue is. And it might just be problem people. Okay, problem issues, problem people, seeing things for what they are and recognizing what needs to be rooted out. And with that energy of good leadership, of kingly power, okay, not abusive people, not unkindness or lack of compassion, but kingly power, and going in and sorting out the problem. Okay, there's a little bit of an energy of Hexagram 21 biting through. Alexander the Great. Get rid of the problem people. Get rid of the problem issue. Cut to the core. Get to the root of it. Eliminate the weeds and the issue. Smite it. Okay. Okay, so there's that energy within our lives of really needing to focus on seeing clearly, recognizing where we have seen clearly. And you probably find this is more towards the end of the week that you'll get this insight and dealing with the problem because you now see the real issue. And in doing so, you really unlock opportunities. This is a blessing position, all right? If we are able to step into our leadership, into our insight, and we are willing to take action, we unlock wonderful energy by doing this. Okay, so where do we go? 3 changing lines, right? Hexagram 30, radiance or clinging. Where does this go to? Well, this week we have as our second hexagram, a relating flow of energy. We have hexagram 24, the return. Okay, you can see the structure, a whole lot of female lines, yin lines, and one yang line at the bottom coming in and working its way up. The return of positive energy after a difficult time. The return back to something. The reconnection with something of your past, all right? The reignition of something. The turning point. I talk about the bear in its cave, and I've seen some videos this past week of the bears starting to emerge out of their caves in the northern hemisphere, all shriveled up and hungry. And that kind of energy of this bear starting to shift and work out, wow, where am I? What's happened? Okay, I'm awake. I'm slowly waking up. It's time to get moving. It's time to replenish. We've had this long sleep, a long period of darkness, and now the light is coming back. So it brings us this idea, all right, as we think about this energy of this radiance, we have this idea of stepping into this week of being willing to shine brightly, to create light for people, to be a burning bonfire, right, so that everyone can see each other and can connect and be warmed and nurtured by this fire. In order to do that, we need to cling to what's really important, cling to good fuel, cling to great networks, great resources, to each other. All right, this hexagram is very much around binding everyone around the fire. We do that and we focus on these changing lines, all right? We focus on celebrating endings, right? We focus on seeing the meteor for what it is, okay? Fast in, fast out, right? And we are leaders, we take charge, we see clearly, we understand the root cause of the issue, we take action to get rid of the root thing. And when we do that, what that does for us is it brings in this beautiful energy of our second hexagram of the turning point. Turning back towards light after a difficult time, all right? Movement towards the better things, back to what is really important, getting back onto the path, all right? Finding our way back to the light. And so the actions we take in shining brightly this week get us back onto the path, back to a turning point. And that is worth striving for this week. It's meaningful. Thank you so much for being here with me. If this was valuable to you, a like, a thumbs up would be really great. And of course, you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the bell or the follow button on the podcast. And I will connect with you very soon for our next weekly forecast. Until then, have a fantastic week and burn brightly for yourself and for others.